Today's story is Exodus by Godly Play and Church Publishing. Today, we're going to talk about the desert. This is just a part of the desert, but we need this part of the desert in our classroom because so many things happen to the people of God in the desert. The desert is a dangerous place. Nothing hardly grows there. It doesn't rain. And when the wind blows, it changes shape. So people get lost. It's a very dangerous place and a very hard place to live. The people of God lived in the desert. And it didn't rain. And they had no grain to crush for their food. And so they were hungry. And their children were hungry. And their children would cry at night in their beds and couldn't sleep because they were so hungry. So their parents decided they had to go to where they could get food. So they started out across. They had to do this. They had to go across the desert. So they were very brave. And they started across. It doesn't say how long it took them to get there. But it was a big desert. When they finally get to Egypt, they found food. They got food. However, the king in Egypt was named Pharaoh. And once they were food, Pharaoh was he was a king that was very hard. So he told them when to get up, when to go to bed, when they could eat, what they had to do for work. He had them as slaves and controlled them. The people didn't like this. So one of the people that was with them, the godly people, was Moses. So he went to Pharaoh and he said, "Let my people go." And Pharaoh said, "No." So they went back and they worked some more, and some things happened along the way. And Moses went back to Pharaoh. "Let my people go." "No." Then something terrible happened in Egypt. All of the firstborn boys of all the Egyptians, including Pharaoh's household, were killed. The people of God, their firstborn boys, were not killed because they put a sign above their doors in lamb's blood, and the angel of death passed them by. After this happened, Moses went back to Pharaoh and said, "Let my people go." And this time, Pharaoh said yes. They were so excited, and they were hurrying because they were afraid he would change his mind. They started making provisions to go across the desert again. And they made bread, but they couldn't make the regular bread because it took too long to rise. So they made bread that was unleavened, and it looked like this. It's matzah bread. It doesn't have any leavening, so it's flat and hard, but it was easy for them to carry. So they got their bread and all their belongings, and they were hurrying because they didn't trust Pharaoh wasn't going to come after them. They're going across the desert, and all of a sudden, they hear the horses' hooves, and they hear the chariot wheels, and they are very afraid. Pharaoh's men get the people of God and push them all the way up against the water. What are we going to do? We're up against the water. We can't get across, and Pharaoh's men are coming. Moses came very close to God, and God came very close to Moses, and he told him how they could get across the water. So the water opened, and all the people went across. Now this one was kind of tentative and scared. This one was happy. He ran across. This one did cartwheels. He was so happy. This one just plodded along. This one said, "Don't leave me. I'm coming." When they all got across the water closed back up. And Pharaoh's men were on the other side and could not get them. They were so happy that they danced, and Miriam led them in their dancing. I wonder what part of the story you liked best. I wonder what part of the story is the most important. I wonder where you might see yourself in this story. I wonder if there's any part of the story we could leave out and it would still be the story. Today, if you have your craft bag from church, you can look in there and find something that you might want to recreate this story or anything else you might want to do today. And if you don't have a craft bag, your parents can come to church and get you one, or I'll bet you have things at your house that you can make, then do your work for the day.